Dear Ms. Kerneta, dear guests, dear colleagues from national agencies, let me wish you a warm welcome to Belgrade, to our TCA activity on behalf of the Foundation Tempus. As you may know, I don't have a presentation. I will just give a brief welcome speech, and then Jelena will take over with the presentation. As you may know, we are the youngest national agency in Europe, becoming the program country only on the beginning of this year. And in this sense, this is our first TCA activity that we organize, so we are kind of having great expectations from it. So we would really like you to give us the feedback anytime, but especially afterwards. Upon the finishing of the activity, we would really like to see what you think of the whole event and how we can improve it. The topic is, of course, very current and very interesting, and as we heard in Serbia, it is something that we are getting the momentum in and putting emphasis. And I think that you'll have opportunity to hear something new and exchange practices later on, and we will have the sessions for you to get to know each other and maybe establish some kind of partnerships in the future. We will have the presentation of the projects now within the Erasmus Plus. And so in that sense, we really hope that it will be successful. I will not take more of your time. Thank you for coming here, for being here, and well, I hope we'll all have the successful event.
Thanks, Nemanja. So, first of all, yes, I'm not a translator, as you probably realized, but I hope you were able to follow. And as Nemanja mentioned, we'll be talking about projects a little bit today. So, I don't know if any of you have had experiences with K1 or K2 projects before. Did you have any mobilities? Can I see the hands just to make sure that, okay, so this is not the majority, but you might hear what you already know a little bit here. I don't know if you were the one who were applying in front of your institution, but you were, okay, congrats, and yes, I'm sure that was challenging, but as we have the majority here and not have done that before, then I will be talking about projects a little bit. As you may know or may not know, this is a TCA activity that is aimed, first of all, at the topic, which is STEM for us, and then second of all, for all of you to meet and to find out about Erasmus Plus projects and to possibly build some partnerships and apply to your national agencies or to our national agency. So we have a mixed crowd here from different countries, and these activities are actually meant for you to meet, to exchange your experiences, to exchange your expertise, and actually maybe apply in this, hopefully, in this next call that will soon come to us, and so that we have these quality projects, hopefully revolving around STEM, where you will exchange your experiences. But before that, just a slight introduction. So Erasmus Plus program is the European Union program, which provides support in 3 different areas: education and training, youth, and sport. We are now under the education and training cap, let's say, and then you are also able to apply to these others, but this is mostly focused on schools and vet schools. So what is the role, when we say K1 and K2, it's clear to us what it is because we do it every day. But it sounds very bureaucratic and it sounds very dry to maybe some of you, to teachers who are not involved in this every day. So what is the role of these K1, let's say, more simple projects? They're meant to increase and improve cooperation between institutions in Europe through exchange of good practices and knowledge. So what does this mean? This means increasing learning outcomes, support the professional development of all of you, the teachers mostly, foreign language competences, which we are all working on basically right now, raising awareness of other cultures, and so on. So depending on the topic of your project that you are willing to apply, you may touch upon several of these topics, but you need one overarching topic that you will choose that will be focusing on your competencies, on the increase of your competencies and learning from your colleagues. So who can apply? Preschool schools, high schools, vocational schools. I think we have a mixed crowd here today, and we have some vocational schools as well. The good news for you, if you're from one, is that you can focus both on general competencies, which would be STEM, language competencies, let's say decreasing violence in school or so on. And if you're a vocational teacher, you can also apply for a different kind of projects, and this is K1 VET, and you can focus there on your professional vocational skills that you want to improve. So if you're from a vocational school, it might be a little bit more opportunities for you. If you're from a preschool school or a general high school, how we call them here in Serbia, it might be a bit of a different system depending on the country. But if it's a general competence, it's a K101, and it's focused on schools. Also, projects can involve state bodies, but this is mostly for K2, for more complex projects, which we'll mention a bit later on. Enterprises and so on. So who can apply? If you're applying for a K1 project, you need at least 2 organizations. So at least 2, you can have more. Which are the countries that you can involve, actually the institutions from these countries? So these are the 28 still, the 28 members of the EU, and these additional countries that are not in the EU but are program countries. And we're very proud to say that this is the 2nd year that we are involved in the Erasmus Plus program as a program country. So before that, we were just a partner and we had limited possibilities. Our teachers had some of the limitations that their colleagues didn't have. But from last year, we are fully in line with all of these other countries. So Liechtenstein, Norway, Iceland, Turkey, Northern Macedonia, and Serbia are these additional program countries besides the EU members. So good news or bad news, depending on your point of view, is that individuals cannot apply, just organizations. So you as an individual in these kinds of projects, you are actually not, no matter your motivation, no matter your drive, you cannot actually apply unless you have your entire school behind you, your director, your colleagues. This is an institutional effort. So all of these projects are meant to improve your institution, your competencies as well, but also your institution as such, and to build this trust, these, let's say, project teaching stems also from your cooperation on different levels. So if you are working on the project teaching, actually maybe these projects are the first step to connect to your colleagues and to see what are these common things that you can do together. Who can participate? This means that all of the people who are involved in the school development can participate. Teachers, principals, pedagogues, psychologists, etc., depending on what you have in your school. For vocational schools, again, one more possibility is that you can, through K1 projects, have pupils. So you can have your pupils with you on your mobilities if you want, if you wish so, if that is your need. If you are applying for the general education, this is not possible in K1 projects. In K2, it is. So you can apply as 2 things, or you can have 2 roles within a project, to be more precise. You can be a coordinator, so your institution can apply to your national agency. So if you are from Spain, you apply to your national agency. If you're from Serbia, you apply to us, and then you are a coordinator. You are responsible for all the funds that you receive. You're responsible for all the activities that are happening, and you are the ones who are going to a mobility, right? Or you can be a partner. So you can be a receiving institution, you don't apply, but hopefully you help your colleagues who are applying for these projects, and you're a host for your colleagues from another country. You have some competence to offer them, you have something to show them, and you are the ones who are providing them with a certain possibility to see you teach or to learn something new from you. And what do you actually do on a mobility? We use this term, and then it might be something, again, that's only known to us and the European Commission. So the teachers often ask us, so what do? We go there, and what can we actually do? You can do job shadowing. So hopefully from this event, this will be the result. You will learn that your colleagues have something to show you, and you will apply to actually see them applied in the practical sense. You will see them teach, you will see how they use certain tools in classes, or how they organize their project teaching, or so on. You will have hopefully many ideas after these 2 days. So this is the first activity that you can do. Also, you can go abroad and you can teach. This can be one of the activities that you can do if you want to improve, for example, your language competencies, or you want to see how you would be able to teach in a different environment, in a completely different classroom, and you are not able to do that in your country. It's possible to do it through these projects. And in the end, we have training courses. So there are no Erasmus courses. There's no list that you can go to and see, okay, so these are Erasmus courses. You can choose any course, and if you explain your needs well enough, you can maybe get this project and go to a certain course that you pay, which is like a structured course. We do not have course providers here with us, so we focused on schools, and we focused on these 2 first activities. If you're a vocational school, you have all of this again and more, so you can go to a training in a company. And this is something that is different maybe from schools. You cannot go to a training course. There's no structured training course that you can do as a VET teacher, as a teacher of a certain vocational topic. So you can go to a training in a company, and you can also bring pupils so they can go to classes and to a company, combined or just to a company. So you can do both of those. I'm not sure if we have any vocational teachers here today. Do we? Okay, we have 1. Okay, but we can still talk about it. So how long are these projects? You have your daily jobs, you have your daily obligations. This is not supposed to take up all of your time. So this is not an active project like if you were an NGO and you're only working on that. No, you have your daily job, and this is just something that you incorporate within your activities, and you learn something new, you learn how to coordinate a project. So you have enough time, and you have between 12 and 24 months to conduct this entire project. And the mobility itself can be between 2 days and 2 months. So what do you do in the meantime? You wonder, what do you do in the meantime of this? You need time to prepare. You need time for, let's say, a language course. If you're going to a country where you have just A1 and you want to improve your knowledge before you go, you want A2, so that you can follow the classes in their native language, you can do that for a few months maybe. Or you can organize, when you go back, many dissemination activities. We'll mention that a little bit later on. This is the goal of these projects, K1 or K2. The goal is not to keep this knowledge to yourself. The goal is to spread it and say everything that you learn to your colleagues and to your wider community. And for pupils, it's a bit longer, so it's between 2 weeks and 3 months. Or Erasmus Pro, a very ambitious thing that the Commission has thought of, between 3 months and 12 months. So what is covered? These projects are meant to actually cover all of your expenses and to have you provided for all of the activities that you want to do within these 12 to 24 months. So travel costs if you're going to a different country, individual support for this. So this means that you have your daily allowance, you have your hotel paid for. You are the ones who need to organize the whole thing, but you will have enough means to do so. Organizational support. It's often unclear, at least to our, maybe because we're so new, what does this organizational support cover? Like I mentioned, if you want to go to a language course or you want to have a cultural preparation, you want to, I don't know, in any other way that you can think of, prepare for this mobility, this is organizational support. When you come back, if you're traveling somewhere to present what you learned, if you're organizing a conference or a round table or some sort of any sort of event for your colleagues and for other schools, for other institutions that you want to present what you learned, you also need means for that. So this is this organizational support. And this is 350 euros per participant. So it's more than enough. Course fees, if you're going for a course, again, this is covered in a certain amount. We will not get into this many details now, but it is 70 euros per day, 10 days at the most. So this should be enough for all of the courses that you're able to find. We'll see the platforms a bit later on. And special needs support, if any of your participants have any special needs, this is a real cost, so you need to tell us on time and you need to predict these costs. So when your application comes to us, we are not the ones, we are the advisors. We're not the ones who actually grade it. We're not the ones who actually put it, okay, so this will get it, this will not get it. We have external evaluators for you. And so what they look at is relevance, quality implementation, and impact and dissemination. What does this mean? You need to explain what is the relevance of this project for you, for your organization, for all of your colleagues in the institution, and for your pupils. This is much more complex, but I didn't want to get into all the details. You have the program guide if you want to apply, and if you want to see, this is the place where you should read it. And then as for the quality of implementation, it carries 40 points, so it's important how you plan it. You are not project managers. We are aware of that. We're all aware of that. But we need to see that you actually thought about all of the aspects of this. So did you leave enough time for the preparation, or did you plan for your project to start in September, on September the 1st, and then you're traveling on September the 10th? So this is not good planning. This doesn't show good planning. And did you think of all of the details, especially if you have students traveling with you, and this is for K1 and K2, where you can actually, in general education, also have pupils with you. It's important for us to see that you thought of all of the details, that you actually thought of all of the little things that can possibly go wrong, and that you have the plan B if something is changed. And the impact and dissemination. Who are you influencing? Who is this project influencing? Are your colleagues aware of these projects? Are they aware of the benefits that you will reap from this experience? The impact on pupils, the impact on the community, if it's possible, local community, wider community, national level. We have many projects because we were so new, and this was so new to all of our schools. We had many local news stations reporting about oh, so this huge group of teachers has went to, I don't know, Portugal or Norway, and they spent 2 weeks there and they learned something new. So they invited them to their national TV programs. So this was something that was exciting for them as well as for us, actually. So we were extremely happy to see that there's interest for this. Examples. I just put a few examples of our K1 projects just for you to see. So this is a VET project. This is a maritime school from Belgrade, and they went to Croatia. To this place, Bakar. They had 10 pupils with them and 2 teachers, and they went to see the practical classes on simulators for maritime education. I have no clue what that is, but as long as they know it's important, that's what's important to us. And this is their actual picture from the mobility. These are 10 students and 2 teachers. So I just thought that was a lovely picture. And it's around, so you see the approximate budget here. So these are not too large of a projects. You will use these means, but it will be enough for everything that you have planned. And another project is maybe closer to what we're talking about today. This is the internationalization of the school through innovative methods and greater use of ICT in teaching. And so they had, for example, 2 partners. They had a school, so this is also a Serbian school from Kruševac. They had a school in Czechia or Czech Republic, depending on your preference, and then institute in Italy. So they went to 2 different places, gaining 2 different sets of knowledge. So they're a good practice example for us, and this is why we put it here. You will see later the platform where you can see all of these good results from other countries, not just from ours. We have very few as we're so new. Just briefly, okay, I have more time. I thought I was way off. Strategic partnerships. Strategic partnerships are, let's say, a lot more complex in a sense that more is expected from you if you're applying for this strategic partnership. What does this mean? This is a transnational project designed to develop and share innovative practices and promote cooperation, peer learning, exchanges of experiences. Now, this probably sounds to most of you, if you haven't had the opportunity to read about this already, the same as a K1 project. So this definition doesn't tell you much more. But what do we have? Oh, okay, so this remained in Serbian. Okay, so these two are different types, and one of them is supporting innovation, and the second is exchange of good practices. So I will translate what I have this in Serbian. So supporting innovation means that you can have a completely new, for example, curriculum or a new course or a new tool that you will use in your classes. So you can develop a completely something new that you need for your teaching within these projects. So this is what this means. Intellectual output means something new that you want to develop and you don't have the means or the time or your ministry or school, depending on the level that you need to have it on, doesn't have the means to do so. And you have the expertise, you are the ones who are going to be using it, you have the hands-on experience, and you want to use this for your classes. You can develop it through these projects. The second type of projects is the exchange of good practices. This means that if you have a good practice that you want to share with your colleagues, you can go both ways, right? So what does this mean? K2 projects are not for the beginners. In K1, you can have zero experience about a topic, and you can go visit your colleagues, see how they do a certain thing, and start it completely anew in your institution. As for the K2, you need some experience. You need expertise to develop a new tool. You need expertise to share with your colleagues. So let's say this is a higher level of projects, but it doesn't mean that the project itself is more complicated. It just means that you need to have more abilities, more expertise in a certain area that you want to either share or improve. So this is the main difference. I hope I was clear enough. If you have any questions, please just raise your hand. There's few of us, so you can always tell me. So the number of organizations is at least 3. So this tells you immediately that this is a bit more complex than K1. And projects last longer. So this is between 12 months and 36 months. So you have enough time for all of the activities. Understanding strategic partnerships, I want to just sum it up without the bureaucratic explanations, but if you do go to a project, if you do go to a new call when we finally get it, you will see all of the terms. So what's important here is that there's more focus on project management. You need to be more prepared for a longer project, for a longer period of time, for a different type of costs, and for a bigger organization. So this is more important here to have organizational capabilities. K1 is fairly easy. It has 3 stages: preparation, implementation, dissemination. This project has much more. Dissemination is overlapping with the implementation. You have some activities earlier. You need to move maybe some activities. The tools are not done by the end. You need to increase the length of your project or something like that. So you need more logistical skills for these kinds of projects. But don't be scared. There are schools that are implementing it every year in all of the countries. It's a variety of activities. You will see later on what's funded, and you can see it from there. Funding the development of intellectual outputs is the main difference, like we said, from the K1. So they need to be measurable, they need to be tangible, they need to be useful for your organization or for the wider community. And in these projects, you can actually have different types of institutions. So in K1, most of you will have schools. Some of you will have course providers, and that's about it. Some of you might have, well, actually one of you can have a company, but this is the profile of the institutions that you can work with. In K2, you can work with your ministry, with companies, with different institutes, with the university, with the faculty in some countries. So it all depends on your goals, it all depends on what you want to do. And you have all of this variety, NGOs, anyone that you want to involve and you think would be important for your project, you can involve. So this is what tells you that you need a little bit more organization, you need a bit more thinking before these projects. It's a bit longer, it's a bit more complex, but it's doable. Larger budget brings larger responsibilities and expectations. So I can only talk about Serbia, and we have a smaller budget than most of the other countries. So our K1 projects are around, let's say, 10, 15, 20,000 euros. Our K2 projects are around 100, 150. I can presume that in other countries it's completely different. Let's say it can be up to 10 times more. I'm looking at my colleague. So it's what brings a bigger responsibility. And you need clearly defined goals, outputs, dissemination strategies. You need a strategy for all of these aspects. So what's covered is project management and implementation, transnational project meetings. You need your colleagues to agree on all of this. You need all of the stages to be covered, and you need to actually have this plan developed together. Learning, teaching, and training activities, let's say they're like small K1 within your K2 project. So you can go to a mobility, you can learn something new, develop your tools, develop your different skills, and so on. You have intellectual outputs, so your work on intellectual outputs is covered with a certain amount of money that is determined depending on the country. And multiplier events. So if you want to organize a big conference at the end for all of your colleagues to tell them what you learned and what you developed, it's possible through these projects, and it's all financed, it's all funded. How to find partners. So if your school hasn't already had these projects or you don't have international partnerships, School Education Gateway is a place where you can see other people's ideas. However, you can also find courses on this School Education Gateway. Be careful with the courses for K1. Check if they were implemented all these years before. They can sometimes be canceled or they can be moved. So just be careful with them. If they are, if they have a good grade, if you see that they have a proper website, then they're usually the proper courses. E-twinning. We might mention e-twinning, hopefully we mention e-twinning in our workshops tomorrow, but this is really, I don't know if, are there any of you who are active e-twinners here?
I know of us that our school is active.
Okay. Okay, so your school is active, but also we have individual teachers. So this is not something institutional. So you can do an e-twinning project without any, let's say, support from your institution in the sense of K1 and K2 project. You don't need anybody's signature. You don't need anybody's, stamp or anything. So you can incorporate ICT in your teaching through e-twinning and cooperate with your colleagues online. So these projects are mostly online, and I can say with the complete confidence that all of the e-twinners that started using e-twinning, they remained on e-twinning. It's such a supportive environment, it's such an active environment, and really the teachers that I found the most inspiring and the most inspired were on e-twinning. So give it a chance if you haven't already, and involve this ICT in your teaching and involve e-twinning in your project. So this can be good for preparation, this can be good for later stages of implementation of your project. So this is really something that we highly, highly recommend. I will be quick. EPALE is for adult learning. So if you want to maybe share some experiences from your courses with your colleagues, you can write a blog for EPALE, you can join, you can see, but it's mostly, like I said, for adult education. It's not for your pedagogical skills with kids. And where can you see all of these successful projects? Where can you see all of these things that I just mentioned in the previous slides? What did the other schools do? Or you can maybe find partners, having in mind what they previously did. Oh, so we saw your project on Erasmus Plus project results platform, and we want to see what you learned in this project. We want to come and we want to do job shadowing with your organization. So you can go to this platform. You have really clear filters. So you can choose K1 or K2, school education, vet education, and so on. You can choose by topic as well. And you can get all of these good practices examples. They're not all good practice examples, so they should all be there. Some of them have stars, some of them don't. But at least you can get an idea, because you cannot see the filled out form, or at least we don't give it, no national agency will give you the filled out form application. But you can definitely see the ideas, and you can definitely see the projects that were previously financed on this platform. So this is maybe my biggest recommendation along with eTwinning. And this event. So if you still don't have partners and you want to, you are inspired, you want to have these projects, this is why we made this event, so to learn about STEM and to build these partnerships. And so I just want to give two quick examples for K2. So we found this amazing project, Pollution, Find a STEM Solution, and it involved 5 countries. The main objective of this project was to increase students' interest in STEM subjects, as well as getting acquainted with new trends in technology, engineering, and science. So what Ms. Kaneta was mentioning, you can see how it evolves in other countries. You can maybe have completely different experiences, and your national agenda can be completely different. So maybe this is something that would be useful. And you can see that this project was 24 months, and the budget was around 120,000 euros. So thank you. If you have any questions, I think I'm on time.